Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We carry on with our series wherein we explore select ahadith from Sahih al-Bukhari. We had stopped at Kitab al-HiJRA, the book of hiring or the book of rentals. Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah, wanting to mention his opinion on the ruling of hiring a non-Muslim, is it permissible or not? He mentions the hadith of HiJRA, wherein the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu were going to migrate from Mecca to Medina. And one of the things they did was they hired somebody to guide them, to show them the way. And this man was not a Muslim at the time. His name was Abdullah ibn Urayqid, as mentioned in the books of Seerah. Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah, he writes a heading for this hadith, Babu isti'jar al-mushrikeen 'inda al-darura. He says the chapter of hiring a mushrik, somebody who is not a Muslim where there is necessity. He then mentions how the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu agreed with this man who was not a Muslim. They had hired him to show them the way. There are scholars who mention that this type of hiring is only done where there is no Muslim, as is the opinion of Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah. There are others who mention that it is permissible as long as a person is not compromising in their deen. So at times you may find that you want to hire on the basis of skill, and you may find that somebody who is not a Muslim has a lot more experience, a lot more skill than somebody who's a Muslim. In this case, inshallah, it's permissible to hire them as long as, again, your deen is not compromised in any way. Notice how we were speaking about hiring somebody who's not a Muslim. What happens if it's the opposite, where a non-Muslim is hiring a Muslim, or a Muslim wants to work for a non-Muslim? For this ruling, we go back to the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Yusuf alayhi salam, after being cleared of any wrongdoing, he tells the king of Egypt, "Ij'alni ala khaza'in al-ard." Make me in charge of the treasures of the earth. Make me in charge of agriculture and commerce. Some of the scholars, like Imam al-Qurtubi rahimahullah, at the tafsir of this ayah, they mention some of the conditions that need to be fulfilled in order for somebody to work in this instant. The main condition being is a person should not compromise their deen in any way. Look at how Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah, speaking about this ruling, he mentions the hadith of Khabaab radiyallahu anhu. Khabaab radiyallahu anhu was an ironsmith, somebody who worked with iron or steel. And he says that I did a job, or I worked for one of the non-Muslims, Al-As ibn Wa'il. And when it came time to pay, he refused to pay me until I rejected, until I disbelieved in what the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with. So notice how this hadith is speaking about a Muslim working for a non-Muslim. Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah, his opinion, his heading at this hadith, he starts off by saying hal. Hal is a question. He's asking, is it permissible for a person to hire themselves to give their services to a non-Muslim? And then he does not mention his opinion, rather he mentions this hadith. What's mentioned by a lot of the scholars in this instance is, as long as a person is not compromising their deen in any way, then it is permissible. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us goodness and beneficial knowledge. Ameen.